Hello, everyone. I'm Patty Post, your host of the Persevere Podcast. And today I have Dena Patton, who is the founder of her own coaching business for 22 years. She's kicking off our coaching series. And when I first got online with her today, I'm like, there's a lot of coaches out there and you've been at it a long time. She has a framework. We're going to get all into it. So Dena, thank you for joining me and welcome to the Persevere Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So you founded Dena Patton Coaching and Training Company 22 years ago. Are you still a New York City resident, or did you found it when you were living in New York City?
I spent 10 years in New York City and founded this there. It ended up being my last 2 years that I was there, was doing this. And then moved home. And home is Phoenix, Arizona. I was raised there. And really at 21, I dreamt of always living in New York City. And at 21, I just had, you just have enough courage in that moment. And you just said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I don't think I knew I was going to spend that long in New York. But I had an amazing time in New York City, building businesses, building my life, growing up. And it actually, I was actually at the towers at 9/11, and it,
oh, wow.
You live in New York City, you take the bad with the good. And, that was a very, a tragedy in my life and all of America's life. But it was also, one of the most beautiful things to see people come together. I was actually a very big part of the recovery of 9/11, and to see people come together and the love and the compassion and the humanity in moments like that is epic. It restores you. To see humanity, because we can be so, judgmental and Republican versus Democrat, all the stuff can get in the way. But in the real moments of life, we can be humans again. So I had every experience in New York, and it was fabulous.
Wow. That's incredible that you were there and then there for the relief efforts. I too, I was a college student when that happened, and I remember I was heading out to class, and I remember it vividly. Everyone remembers where they were if they were old enough. Yeah. And then remembering afterwards how united we all felt as Americans to see all of you New Yorkers come together, and in DC, that was very inspirational for everyone.
Yeah.
Interesting that you were there.
Yeah. It was a good reminder that life is short. And I think that's, a lot of people took that away is, man, you could just go to work and not come home, and I think it was, I had a pretty devastating year before that was I called it my blessed interruption. And I was in my own recovery and when then 9/11 happened. And I have to say that, that moment in life, that time in my life was not fun at all. We all have, whether it's death or disease or divorce or all the things that derail us. And it's our resiliency to get back on purpose, back on our feet. And, you often surprise yourself. You're like, wow, I am strong enough to get back up. And that was that year, for me before 9/11 and after, it was a good 13, 14 months of recovery, repurpose, and redesigning, realigning my life. And it was an incredible time that I don't think I would ever have the life and the success and the coaching and the kind of clients I have if I didn't go through that devastating time. It was epic, but it sets you up for something, bigger. And, speaking of my we were just mentioning a little bit about my grandmother, who I just get a lot of courage from. She always said, when something hard happens to us, we have to remember it's always happening for us. And
yeah.
That's a very hard concept. Like when you're in the fire of divorce, or you're in the fire of you've had cancer, or maybe your business partner just embezzled all the money. Like that stuff happens. That's real, right? And what I can say is you're gonna be okay. You will get on the other side of this. And it's when you think about why it happened and why is it for you, why did this interruption happen? It's a perfect time for you to realign your life. And that's, to me, as someone who works with a lot of high-level CEOs and leaders, realigning your life back to your values and your purpose is one of the most amazing journeys you'll ever have.
I completely agree. There's nothing like living with integrity and being in alignment with what is most important to you and not having that friction.
Yeah.
It sounds like it, and to point back to what you said there about your grandma, I always think of like those times of devastation of how, like, rising from the ashes, like how can we rise from the ashes? Because that happens, right? Like it seems like every bad thing, if you can use it for good and reinvent yourself like you did, that's so powerful. And be able to look back and appreciate those times is just, there's nothing like it, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you coach talking about these, Hallie? Oh, did we have, okay. We had the audio though. Okay. Well, good.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3.
I can hear.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
When you, oh, now I have a little bit of an echo. Oh, now maybe we're gone. Okay, because that is like, if I could bottle whatever that is to take that and inspire someone, but usually you're not getting, well, who are your types of clients? Can we talk about that first?
My
like your profile.
My clients are business owners and leaders, and it's I've never been in corporate. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 24, and my heart is with entrepreneurs. I'm on a mission to abolish smallness in entrepreneurs and help them lead with greatness and purpose. And so really 99% of my clients are that small business owner. They usually typically have 10 to 75 employees, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but that tends to be my client.
Okay. And so when I read here about a 3-pillar coaching approach that we can help not only ourselves, you and I talked about how do people approach coaching? Is it like, I think of it sometimes like my professional therapist on the business side. I'm talking through things that I need to improve on, maybe doing more reflecting than vision casting. And then there's the other part of there's vision casting, and then you are really helping in the strategy of the business. And I like that you put in here a well-oiled company. That just sounds like, think of a perfect train working well and be able to pull the haul all the way up, all the way up the mountain. So tell us about that, what that framework is.
Yeah. So, back 22 years ago when I started, I had just sold my first company and had, that level of success, my own little business there in New York. And it was awesome. And
that's so cool.
That's
awesome.
it was innovative. I was very blessed to sell it. But there's some things that I did really well. And one of the biggest things I did really well is systems. And like a lot of entrepreneurs, I have ADHD. And when you have ADHD, you have to be over organized and super systematized, or you usually implode. And so I learned from a very young age, if I want to be successful, I've got to master these two things. It's not impossible. You just have to learn it, right? And it's one of the reasons why my business sold is they loved the system. It was a well-oiled machine. And when people buy a business, they don't want to it's like a house. You don't want to buy a house and then spend a year and a half rehabbing it, unless that's your business of rehabbing. But I want to move in. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's move in, right? And so they wanted to buy it and like, let's go, move in and get it going as soon as possible. So I really realized that systems are one of the highest skills I had. And so that was always a part of my coaching, is helping people with their process, their systems, capturing, especially when you're a solo entrepreneur, you're doing everything. You're doing the finance, you're doing the admin, you're doing the customer service, you're doing the billing, you're doing CEO things, right? You're wearing 10 hats. And then you hire a person and you have to get all those systems out of your head and train the person on that system. And then you times that by 2 and then 4. And then all of a sudden you look up and you have 10 employees, but all the systems are in your head. How do you help your business become a well-oiled machine? Is you get those systems out of your head onto documents so that you can train your people with consistency. And you do things with consistency, not only for your internal team, and it's easier and lighter instead of being so hard and exhausting, but for the client experience, for the client journey. I want every single one of my clients, whether I'm doing a team training for 50 employees, or I'm coaching a CEO, or I'm doing a keynote speech as a conference, those are all people I'm serving. And so my system to interview people, onboard them, get paid, make sure, all the things that I'm going to deliver for them are well oiled. I have to have a system for that. Right. So sales needs a system, marketing needs a system, onboarding, you need a system, your billing, you need a system, admin, you need a system, right? So the more systems you have, the more well-oiled and a lighter lift your business will be. So that's been a huge piece of mine. But I coached a lot of other areas as a new coach, and I just was experimenting of what I wanted to coach. And about 5 years in, 6 years in, I really realized I had 3 brilliant lanes. Systems was one of them. 2 was marketing and sales. That's the agency I had before. I was awesome at marketing and sales. So a lot of, again, small businesses, they're winging it. They're throwing spaghetti on the wall. They don't really understand who their target market is. They don't know how to create language that lands for their target market, and they don't know how to get in front of their target market enough for them to buy, right? So the whole sales and marketing can be very, very overwhelming. They don't usually have a plan. They don't really usually have an execution strategy, and they don't have a system for it. So that marketing and sales is a second framework that I help them plan all of that, strategize all that, execute that. And then the third is something that I really started to research about 15 years ago. And that's mindset. And what I realized is we never outperform, outsell, or outdo our mindset. I don't care if you have this goal. If you don't know how to get your mindset around that goal, believe it, and move towards it, it will just stay a goal, and you'll keep the illusion that you're getting there, but you're not getting there because your mindset is not around it. So I did a lot of research on why are certain leaders and entrepreneurs successful and some aren't. And it had nothing to do with money. See, people think, oh, once you're funded, you're good to go. right?
Right.
Once you, right, the money is handled, you are going to scale and build your business and you'll be successful. So I want you to think about that and think about lottery winners, right?
Yeah.
So someone who's making $40,000 a year, all of a sudden wins 5 million in the lottery. And everyone's like, well, if you just have money, you'll be successful. What happens to those lottery winners often? There's statistics around this.
Yeah.
It's
They
blow
run
the
out of
money.
money.
They
Yeah.
blow the money. They don't have a plan for it. They're not strategic around it. They don't have the mindset, the money mindset of how to nurture and invest this money.
Yeah.
So it's very similar in the entrepreneur space where their mindset isn't in a state of greatness. It's actually in the state of smallness, which is our survival. So my book, when I wrote my book, The Greatness Game, I wanted to introduce people to this concept of our smallness mindset and our greatness mindset. And we're born with both. We all have both. And we're really in society nurtured and told to listen to our smallness. It's the fear, it's the stay alive, stay safe, and stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is if you are a leader or you're an entrepreneur and you have big dreams and you have big goals with your life and your business, you cannot stay in your smallness. It will not get you to the big goal. So if you don't know how to master your mindset and transform your mindset, there's a framework and there's very tangible things to shift mindsets into greatness so that you can actually really step into your multi-million-dollar business with leadership and vision and power and greatness and lead that train to success. And so that greatness mindset, I took all that research, wrote my book, have been speaking on stages. My passion, like I said before, is to abolish smallness thinking in entrepreneurs. That's the thing. That's the thing that's holding you back. And my question to everybody listening is, I want you to think about the biggest dream that you have in your business. And here's the question: who do you need to be to get that goal? To get to that goal, who do you need to be? And that question is not easily answered because most people don't know the answer. And until you know who you need to be and what kind of mindset you need to have to get there, we'll stay in like the spinning of it. It's almost like a gerbil on a wheel trying to get somewhere.
How do you discover that, who that person is that you need to be, or the characteristics? Is that through research, networking?
Nope. It is, you are the only one that can answer that. Now, with a coach, that's a process that I take people through, but you don't need a coach for that answer. It's usually innately right there. If I'm a $1 million, a $1 million business, but I'm trying to get myself to a $5 million business, who do you need to be on a daily basis for your team, your customers, your sales? Like, who do you need to be? And start mastering that, because I promise you a 50 million, I have a client who just had some breakthroughs around this. Actually, he has a $20 million business in the Midwest, and he has a goal within 2 years of being a $50 million company.
Wow.
And here's the thing. He got to 20 million, but he has good team members. He has a good brand and good team members, and you can get to a lot of success with those two things. But I said to him, who do you need to be? Showing up like a $50 million CEO, thinking like a $50 million CEO, strategizing like a $50 million CEO is very, very different than being a $20 million CEO. They think completely different, right? So there's been some really big breakthroughs in how he shows up, how he thinks, how he leads. Is now he's starting to become and be the $50 million CEO. because you have to become it before you have it.
Yes. Oh,
right?
yeah. Because you're not going to have it and then grow into it.
Right.
You already have to be there.
You have to be there mentally. You have to be there. You have to be leading from a $50 million headspace and leadership, in your communication and your strategy and your time management. He'll say, I had a breakdown here. I couldn't do that. I said, well, how would a $50 million CEO solve that?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It's like, whoa, okay. So, after a few weeks of really shifting his mindset into this $50 million CEO, he's starting to think like that and show up like that and lead like that, and asking himself those questions of like, okay, I'm stuck here. What would a $50 million CEO do in this moment? It's such a powerful question.
Oh my gosh, it totally is. It will be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't react so quickly, because the $50 million CEO has a 30 more million on the line, and they're not making decisions as quickly, or they're being much more serious about this and maybe looking at this from a completely different perspective. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have them do like,
you can do it as a lower numbers. You're a $100,000 business owner right now, but your goal is to get it to $1 million. So my challenge to you is you start showing up and act at like thinking and strategizing and leading like $1 million CEO would, not a $100,000 CEO would. Different, totally different game. So one's a greatness game, one's a smallness game.
I also heard about that smallness. I haven't heard it how you're putting it, and it makes a lot of sense. And what I'm aligning it to is smallness. And if you are associating something with pain that you're doing every day, or like, oh, I don't like this, like there's an association, but then you still do it. That's small. That's smallness. That's small-minded thinking. Why do you think that you should be doing these things that bring pain or disservice to you? Think of greatness with that mindset of someone that is in a greatness mindset. They wouldn't allow for that.
Right.
And are you doing, when you take them through this exercise, is journaling something that you incorporate in your coaching?
It is. Journaling is a powerful tool to get your thoughts and feelings out of you onto paper, especially when you're shifting beliefs and mindsets. We are a result of our belief. So if you believe that you are only worth, $200,000, that is where your revenue will stop.
Yeah.
Right? And so our beliefs, when we start to transform them and elevate them, journaling that process and those feelings and new beliefs, part of coaching, a big part of coaching is transforming either internal or external. I do both, right? The external, like marketing strategy and systems, those are external things in your business that I'm helping you create and transform. But the leader has got to transform.
Yes.
If you're leading a business, you've got to transform. So you've got to elevate your beliefs. You've got to elevate your mindset. You've got to elevate your leadership. You've got to elevate your tools. Your tools on your leadership tool belt have got to be, at that next level. But here's the thing that you kind of touched on a little bit of, running away from pain. Next level, next devil. Like every new level, new devil, right? Every time we go to a new level in our business, there's a new devil, and it's scary. Whatever that new little devil is for you. And what literally happens is you see this new devil and you're like, ooh, mate, this is painful. This is hard. This is confronting. I'm going to go back down to that level that I was comfortable at, right?
Yes.
So smallness is all about the addiction to our comfort zone. And when we've mastered a level of our business or our life or our health or our income, right? Like I'm comfortable. Comfortable is our smallness game. And it's not that it's bad. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's comfortable. And my clients are people who are done with being comfortable. They're done like, I want to exist and lead in places that I'm not comfortable. I'm constantly challenged. I'm constantly pulled to my greatness in ways that are completely uncomfortable and great, because they are about something bigger than them, purpose or world changing. They have some kind of mission they're on, right? And I promise you, you can't accomplish missions from your smallness.
Yes.
I'm not just saying this. It's scientifically like we cannot achieve it, right? So it's like not putting gas in your car, and it's on empty, but you're expecting it to drive. It won't happen, right? It won't. You got to put gas in the car if you're a gas car, and then you can expect it to go. And it's the same thing. If you want these greatness, you're a world-changing leader, you're on a mission, you have a world-changing, or you're revolutionizing your sector. Like those kind of leaders have got to be leading from their greatness. And it's very uncomfortable. And that's where a coach, most people, you look at people who are great, whether they're celebrities, golfers, the athletes who at the top of their game, they have more coaches at the top of their game than getting to the top. Because what I know about business is I had a client who had a brilliant business idea. And this is a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And he said, he saw me speak at a conference and he said, I have this brilliant idea. I don't know if it'll work. I need you to help me pull it out of my head and get it real. So I love doing that. And so I helped him pull it out. And his name is Russ Perry. And he had this idea for unlimited graphic design. No one had ever done it. And he knows that a pain point to a lot of entrepreneurs is we're always making graphics for social and presentations and pitches and marketing materials. And he said, unlimited graphic design for $400 a month. I want to create that. And long story short, he, when you are doing something really big and revolutionizing, no one had done that before. The systems to do that, the marketing to do that, literally people are like, what do you mean unlimited? Like they didn't understand. Like unlimited, you mean unlimited graphic design? So we had to work around, like create language and systems. And I mean, it was a huge lift to get that off the ground. And, there was some doubt there. There was a lot of doubt, like, oh my gosh, is this going to go? And I remember him texting me. He got his first 5 clients and it was like the biggest deal. He's like, oh my gosh, winning first 5 in, right? And the first 30, it was a huge moment. And he's like, greatness, because that's my hashtag with my clients. When they have a win in their day, they text me greatness. And it's a reminder for them that that's the thing that's moving their train. But it's also a communication that they're winning, right? And so fast forward, he now has, 5 years later, he is doing 15 million a month, and he has over 500 employees.
Holy cow! And that is incredible.
It took, a year of realigning his life, realigning his beliefs, redesigning his mastering his mindset, and really redesigning how he believed in himself. I mean, he's never had that kind of success. He just had an idea, right?
Yes.
So when you're doing something new, I mean, those moments of doubt are real. Like, I suck. Who am I? I can't do this. And to not have a coach there who, like, every day, all day is just encouraging you up that hill is incredible. And that's the power of coaches. And let me tell you, I got him up that hill and, thousands of clients and award winning. And, I was blessed to be a part of that journey, and it's
That's so cool.
designedforgold.com. And it's just an incredible success story of what happens when you transform your greatness mindset. And now he has probably 4 or 5 coaches at the top that are taking him from 15 million a month to 20 million a month.
Right.
It takes a tribe around you to keep going to new levels.
Yeah. And you mentioned comfortability, and it feels comfortable when you don't push yourself. And it's like as simple as running on the treadmill. If you're going to keep upping your speed and your incline, it's going to get uncomfortable, but that's the time when your heart's pumping and your blood's flowing and you're changing.
Yep, absolutely. And you mentioned that, and I haven't touched on self-care. One of the biggest things that has been very, very, very uncomfortable for me to transform, and thousands of clients since, is self-care. It's why I say it is I'm very, very passionate about leaders and entrepreneurs having a self-care plan that is very specific, daily, weekly, and monthly. And that it's its own framework, because we are the fuel of our business. And when we are not taking care of ourselves, we can implode. So I just wanted to, give that an encouragement, a little touch, because you can't be on this road to success, whether you're an athlete, you're an entrepreneur, you're a leader. Leading to success and leading to big goals takes a ton of mind, body, and spirit. And you can ruin yourself. You can ruin your marriage if you don't do it right. And I don't want people to implode. I want people to be successful in their dreams. So it takes self-care.
And to thrive. Yeah, absolutely. It takes self-care. And the system around you and the people that surround you, I think, are really important as well. That we were just saying that you could be a good influence on others, or you can be a bad influence on others. And it makes a difference, even what you put in your mouth. Are you eating good food? Or are you going to hang around with people that are, eating bar food all the time? And it's not going to help you achieve your weight loss goals if that's what you're doing. So I have a question on, if you don't have a coach right now, how, and I think, like, for me, a coach has been wonderful, and I didn't really understand it at first. But if you can't afford a coach, I love the option that you have a book. And if someone how do you coach someone that doesn't have a coach to then get in that greatness mindset, so then they can aspire, yep, someday I'll have the money to have a coach?
Yeah, such a good question. Because, there was lots of times in my first business, I couldn't afford a coach. There was great people around me, and I was blessed to, have kind of mentors, people that were ahead of me that I was always asking advice from. But now with YouTube and the internet, and we have so much access to amazing, successful people and books and things like that. So there's much more access. For me, I wrote my book for this exact reason. There's a ton of people who can't afford to work with me, but they can afford a $10 book on Amazon. So The Greatness Game on Amazon, go get it. It's the best $10. You can start it tomorrow. I wrote it very short because I wanted people to actually read it, because it won't do any good for you if you don't read it. So short and sweet, you can literally read it over a day or two, but read it cover to cover. Don't flip through it. And then I also give, my self-care plan. I'm very passionate about it, and I give that away for free. You can go to, amazinggreatness.com and download that framework, that template.
Okay.
And if you stick to it, it will change your life, because, again, we are the fuel. And
Mm-hmm.
if you are showing up in your business and you are trying to lead 20 or 30 or 50 or 5 employees and your tank is on empty,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not a great culture. You're
No.
probably not, nurturing your employees. You're not
Yeah.
probably mentoring them in their greatness and their brilliant lane. You're probably not bringing innovative, creative ideas to your business and taking your business to a next level because you're too exhausted. And a
Mm-hmm.
self-care plan is the thing that is missing. And here's the
Mm-hmm.
illusion, the smallness illusion that is going on is like, oh, it's just for this week. Like, I'm just really working hard this week. It's not this week. It's been months. It might even
Yeah.
be years,
Mm-hmm.
right? Years that
Mm-hmm.
you've been at this. But we tell ourselves like, oh, just one more day or one more week, and then it'll be fine, right?
Yes. Yep.
So get out of the illusion, get into honesty, and have that honest conversation with yourself. Like, I don't take care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
mind, body, spirit. And all of my clients, if you are a one-on-one client with me, it's a mandatory. I don't care how big the CEO is. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of my requirement of working with me is they have to be on a self-care plan, and it totally transforms their leadership and
Mm-hmm.
their revenue. So I'm telling
Wow.
you,
Really?
it's a game changer in revenue. Game changer.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. I am going to download that, and I'm very interested to see how close my self-care routine is to that, because the thing that I lack is the consistency. My daily is really good. And so I have lots of different rituals, but I don't have like the monthly or the quarterly. And those are things that I think I need to, it's not deep work, is it? How would you?
No, it's, just identifying, and I identify self-care as two things. The relaxing things that allow us to get unplugged and come down. So it's down energy. And so
Mhm.
those are, naps. It's the amount of sleep you take. It's
Mhm.
anything, it's TV time. Maybe at night you unplug and you watch movies or TV with the family. Like
Mhm.
intentional down energy that's unplugged, and it's just giving you some relaxation, and it's not making your brain work, right?
Mm. Yeah.
On a monthly basis, that might look like a massage. That might
Mhm.
look like a weekend hike. If hiking is your thing, then you
Mhm.
need to put that in your self-care plan once a month for that day hike. It might be
Mhm.
reading, right? But you've
Mhm.
fallen out of reading,
Mhm.
right? So let's identify those things that bring you some relaxation, some down energy. Let's put them in the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. And then on the other side is the rejuvenation. So it's like
Mm.
activating you. So
Mhm.
yes, we need the down, right? I'm all about 8 hours of sleep. Don't mess with my
Mhm.
sleep. I'm super
Same.
protective.
Me too. Me
I'm
too.
super protective of that sleep. So the down energy stuff that is crucial to our mind, body, and spirit, for sure. But I'm talking to entrepreneurs and leaders who are playing big greatness games and
Mhm.
trying to get to big goals.
Mhm.
You must have creativity and innovation. How do we
Mm.
get creativity and innovation? We go experience it. So
Mhm.
for me, live music, I love
Yeah.
jazz, right? When I lived
Yeah.
in New York City, I would see live jazz at least once a week, if not
That's
twice a week.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Being in nature, I like
Mhm.
high energy. I like zip lining and racing cars and very high energy stuff. When I go do something high energy, I'm coming back with like popcorn
Whew.
ideas for my business.
Yeah.
Boom,
Yeah.
this, boom, right?
Yeah.
So really important to feed yourself creativity and innovation and activation in your self-care plan, because you need to output that. Like, you need to bring creativity and innovation to your business, but how are you
Mhm.
getting fed it, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
So little things like dog, I'm a new dog mom and love playing, and taking my dog to the dog park. That's on
Yeah.
my weekly self-care
Yeah.
because it does something for me. I come back,
Uh-huh.
it jazzes me to be around dogs. I love it. It
Mm-hmm.
activates me. So just like
Mm-hmm.
music, just like racing cars or zip lining. So those are the two areas of self-care that I want you to challenge yourself in is the activation side,
Mm-hmm.
rejuvenation, feeding yourself, the creativity, active things that spark you. It's all about sparking you, sparking your greatness. And
Mm-hmm.
then the down things that really nurture you. And I promise
Mm-hmm.
you, if you identify those things and then put them in go to amazinggreatness.com, download that template, and then you just put them in there. And you touched on the hardest thing. You touched on the very hardest thing, and that's consistency.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah.
for a coach. A coach brings, I'm a very rigorous coach. So I
Mm-hmm.
bring a rigor and a consistency and a culture of accountability to
Mm-hmm.
my life and my team and my clients. And, that's the power of a coach is they help you win the daily and weekly games of your business and your life that's helping you, win these big greatness games of your life and business. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
consistency, right, is hard, but it's a discipline that we learn. 2 years ago in COVID, I think we all learned, some good habits and some bad habits. One of the good habits that I started is I started lifting weights. It was
Oh, yeah.
very hard in the beginning. I didn't like it. I
Mm-hmm.
resisted it. I didn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked how I felt afterwards. So
Mm-hmm.
I did keep going, although I wasn't very consistent. I was actually inconsistent the first couple months, but I had a commitment there. I had a
Yeah.
commitment, and my commitment is from my greatness. And that won over the complaining of my smallness. I don't want it.
Mm.
That's too hard.
Right.
That's, I have other things to do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept winning at just go 45 minutes,
Yeah.
just go.
Right. In your
So,
worst of times, you should, it's when you don't want to go the most is when we should go, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Even if
And
it's going through the motions.
and sometimes it was like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going, I'm not going to, in the beginning, I wasn't 100%. There's that resistance, but you know what? Baby steps move the
Yeah.
train. And
Yeah.
every time I went, it was a win.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I went, I felt a little bit better. And then I went
Mm-hmm.
again and I felt a little bit better. And all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden I was working out twice a week. And then all of a sudden I was working out 3 times a week. And then all of a sudden I lost 20 pounds. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden I have these muscles. And I was like, I'm 50 and I'm strong. And
Yeah.
it took me 2 years to get here. And it was little baby steps. And that's part of the journey of greatness is
Mm-hmm.
not expecting perfection from yourself, but just that consistency and just keep at it. Just keep crawling and
Mm-hmm.
crawling until you walk, and then you're going to walk, and then you're going to run, and then you're going to be like, bam, I got this. I'm mastery.
Yes.
I'm good.
Oh, that feels so good. But then you need to keep like hitting what is that next great level of greatness for you, right?
Yep.
Can't get too comfortable.
Yep.
I love learning about you and how you think, Dena, and it's very inspirational, and it's not complicated. I think that's what makes this so nice is having something that's complicated means you probably won't understand it, or it takes too much to comprehend and to believe it. So then you won't do it. But this makes a lot of sense to me, and you're just a great person all around too. So I can see how your coaches keep coming back for more. I mean, I can see how your clients keep coming back for more coaching. That's awesome. And I'd love to end with about those clients of yours that you obviously have so much passion for. What is that longest client that has been with you right now?
Oh gosh. Well, Russ was the first one, the story I told earlier from designpickle.com. He was with me over 2 years. But since then, I now have 3 that are past 3 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll tell you this is sometimes someone just needs me for a day. It's just my VIP day and they need one day and it's an intensive. And I love those too. I don't compare, because sometimes that client is in a lot of pain, or they have a huge opportunity and they need that one day intensive. And that's special and powerful and amazing. And to have someone, working with someone 2 or 3 years is just, it's an honor. See their revenues are doubling and their impact are tripling and their team is quadrupling. And it's just really powerful to see entrepreneurs come out of their smallness games and out of the overwhelm and really just start to master their greatness and master the purpose and the mission that they're on. So
that is so cool. And you're the coach to get them there, to keep cheering them on, right?
Yes.
I love it. Well, it was so nice to meet you, Dena. I also think that any listeners that if you weren't inspired by this, actually, if you were inspired by this and you have a sales meeting coming up or you have a meeting with your company, Dena would give a fantastic keynote, and just based off of all of your experience in your book and your just this approach that you have built in this methodology would be a fantastic keynote. So book Dena and get her tips and from amazinggreatness.com. Let's give away a book. We're going to give away a book. So we'll do that on our socials. And then do you like people, if they're interested in getting more in touch with you, how about LinkedIn or any socials?
My website actually is the best.
Okay.
DenaPatton.com. I keep everything really, really simple. So everything from booking a consultation, buying my book, booking me for a keynote, my socials are all in one place. DenaPatton.com. Super simple.
Awesome. You make that so easy. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And with coaching like this and methodology like this makes the times when we do have to persevere, it makes it where you are of mind, body state, where you can do it and get through it and be ready for the next one even, right? It's that greatness mindset. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Dena. Well, thank you. You are so welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.